When people look at a stock like Amazon and they see all of the ridiculous growth it has had over the years, a lot of people look and say, darn, I wish I got on that ride a little earlier. But then people say, I'm going to find a stock that's going to produce incredible returns, maybe not at the same rate, but something very incredible. So Amazon's return ever since it became a publicly traded company is just incredible. But even for someone to get like a 1,000% return or a 2,000% return, insanely high numbers, it's something a lot of people would really like to do. So that's why I see a lot of these articles like, oh, this is the next Amazon stock, or this is the next Apple stock, or this is the next, now they're even doing Tesla stock because of the amazing run up that stock has had in 2020. But what really goes into finding these companies, rather than looking for someone to tell you that this stock is the next so-and-so, what really goes into those determinations? What really makes a company have that type of return potential? And we're not talking about a company that's going to end up being $1 trillion company. We're just talking about a company that could produce really solid returns, similar to the types of returns Amazon can produce, not all time, but maybe on like a per year basis, or like the types of returns you see on Amazon in a decade. Because to really say that a stock's going to do like 180,000+% return, no one's really coming out with that type of prediction. So in any event, one thing to know about Amazon: when it came public in 1997, it had roughly a $400 million market cap. Market cap is the first important point here, because this sounds really simple, but it has a good point. Amazon's not going to be the next Amazon stock. And what I mean by that is, for Amazon to double, it has to have a $3 trillion market cap. For it to 10x, it has to go to a roughly $16 trillion market cap. And there has to be enough money in the world, and there has to be enough money that goes into Amazon for that goal to be achieved. So I'm not really anticipating Amazon hitting like a $10 trillion market cap for at least a decade, if that even ever happens. Like, it's just so like unfathomable, especially at this moment where we just recently had Apple being the first $1 trillion company, then Amazon joining in, Microsoft joining in. I believe maybe Google might have had that very briefly, but very brief if it did have it. But to have that type of growth is very difficult to think about. Like, the company has to get 10 times bigger than what it currently is. It has to produce so much more revenue. But if you have a company with what Amazon had back in the day, just a few $100 million in market cap, it is very reasonable to have a company that doubles or 10x's. There's more room in the market cap. Like, for a stock that has $1 billion market cap to go to $10 billion, it's a big leap. It requires the business to grow, but you have seen those leaps happen more often. And it's more plausible for a $1 billion business to add $9 billion to its market cap to get to that 10 than for Amazon to go from where it's roughly 1.6 right now, adding another more than $13 trillion to its market cap through business growth expansion to reach that 10x stage. So market cap is one important factor. But you could also get into a company with a really low market cap that's, it's more of an abandoned ship than get into the company. So you want to make sure you're investing in good fundamentals. Now, part of good fundamentals for the types of companies that become the next Amazon is not necessarily profits. So these are the types of companies that, like, dividend investors, value investors, they would never touch, because the thing going for these companies that like Amazon in the beginning, for instance, the thing going for these companies is that they have a really awesome growth narrative, and they have accelerating revenue, maybe 40% revenue growth year over year or more. The more revenue growth and some efforts to get to profitability at some point, the more likely that stock is to continue going up. Because as long as the growth story holds, people think, oh, this company's going to keep growing. It's going to figure out profitability at some point. Like, Amazon wasn't always a profitable company, and they made it a point to, if they had the potential to be profitable and they had profits, they would invest all those into acquisitions. And this was a big thing that Amazon was critiqued for years. And now if you look at how a whole bunch of their acquisitions have turned out, like Twitch, Whole Foods, and so many others, it just shows that all these acquisitions were well worth it, but for a while they were unprofitable. Very similar to how a lot of the companies that they are generating revenue. Let's be clear, they are generating revenue. It's not, we're not talking pre-revenue, which it's more common in today's market, but we're talking about big revenue growth. And then if you combine that with an innovative concept, that is where you really see a lot of momentum. So Amazon was very innovative. It allowed people to buy things online, and other companies like, I'm just going to say Fiverr and Upwork, not to say those are going to be next Amazon. I'm just using them as an example, but those are major workplaces where people can work online. You can find different job opportunities. You can post gigs on Fiverr and get hired. Like, the idea is that you have an innovative concept with growing revenue at around 40% or more growth per year. Maybe you make some exceptions where maybe it's just 30% growth, depending on what you think about the company, its fundamentals, and future growth opportunities, which is another key factor. Maybe you go for the 30%, but you want to go for a company that has high revenue growth, innovative concept, and a low market cap at the moment. Because a company could be very innovative, but if it has a $100 billion market cap, it doesn't make as much sense to enter into that type of a company, just from the, if you're trying to find the next Amazon stock type perspective, as it would if you are just going into a company with like a $20 billion market cap or even lower than that. So those are just some different things to look for if you are looking for a stock to produce some of these incredible returns. And this is, again, you don't want to find these articles like, this is the next Amazon stock and just buy that stock. Like, this is kind of more like you're learning how to catch your own fish versus being given the fish. So in any event, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts, what you look for in stocks. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.